Guess who? Hey guys, it's Shirley aka Shirleydocious, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to Wandavision, the new Marvel series on Disney+. I'm just going to be reacting to the first episode, and I'm not actually going to show the actual episode because Disney would take this video down before I could even get it up. So I basically made some screenshots and I'm gonna talk about it. And if you don't want any spoilers, watch the show first and then watch this video, because I'm going to be giving away a lot of spoilers. I'm going to be talking about the scenes that I liked and why I liked them, and some things that I noticed or just really liked. And if you're about to ask me, are you wearing a Christmas sweater in January? Then I would have to answer, of course not. Who do you think I am to wear a Christmas sweater in January? I'm not an idiot. No, but in all seriousness, I am wearing a Christmas sweater. It was just what I was wearing today. I really wanted to wear my Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch cosplay that I bought a few years ago, but it doesn't fit anymore. Thank you, lockdown. So you'll have to do with my Christmas sweater. Now let's get into the reacting, which is going to be different, like I said, from what I usually do. I'm just going to be reacting to screenshots, and I've already seen the episode, so I'm just going to be talking about what I liked. So the first screenshot that I've made is of the Marvel intro. I mean, I was just watching that intro and I haven't seen a Marvel movie since, well, I do think I have seen some Marvel movies since, but I can't really remember a Marvel movie since Endgame. So that's at least the last one I've seen in cinema. And maybe I've seen one on Disney Plus after that, or on normal television, but I don't think so. So it's been a while since I've watched a Marvel movie, and that while was actually super in love with them. But then the friend that I used to go watch them with left, and I had no one to watch them with anymore. And yeah, it kind of died out a little bit. But I was really excited for WandaVision, and I'm really excited about this intro, because after the normal super cool intro with all the colors and all, it goes to this black and white Marvel Studios. So old-fashioned, and I know it's supposed to be like a 50s sitcom, and they nailed that so well. I'm just looking at it again and it looks gorgeous. It's such a nice aesthetic. I love it so much. One of the reasons I was actually very excited for WandaVision is because in the trailer I saw Wanda and Vision with babies, and it doesn't happen in this episode, don't worry. But I was just thinking, I used to love reading the Young Avengers comics. And okay, it wasn't because of Billy and Tommy, which are her babies, kind of. Like, I think their soul got given to other children or something like that. I used to love those comics, especially because of Kate Bishop. But there's also going to be a Hawkeye series, so if you want me to do a reaction to that, let me know. But I haven't even gotten into this one. And I'm sorry if I talk too much, but I have to make it entertaining somehow without watching the actual video. But I really loved Young Avengers, and those kids are in there. So basically this show is going to be giving, together with the Hawkeye show, is going to be giving a possibility of an actual Young Avengers show or movie. I'm so excited if that's going to happen. I'm going to rush to the cinema whenever I can, because we're still in lockdown. Well, it's not like it's going to come out in like this year. Please let lockdown stop before this year. I'm going crazy. but stay safe. Yeah. Don't do anything stupid. Just then the lockdown can end sooner. I think I've said everything I wanted to say about the Marvel Studios intro, so let's continue with the next screenshot. I found the intro after, like, the Marvel intro, like the sing-songy intro, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh wow, we're already breaking the fourth wall. Well, not really, but they're having an intro song. That's new. I mean, it's not exactly Guardians of the Galaxy like intro type song. It's actually an intro song about them, like an actual sitcom. An actual sitcom that proved to be fun instead of some other sitcoms. I normally really don't like sitcoms, but this was the funniest bit about the entire intro is when Vision has Wanda carried in bridal style, and then they walk up to the door, and Vision walks straight to the door and leaves Wanda behind on the doorstep because she can phase through doors. I mean, I'm sure she could. She can bend reality, but I don't think she was thinking about that at the time. So here we see Vision realizing that he has left Wanda behind. Wanda is no longer in his arms, and he's just like, what? Before he opens the door again, and then Wanda is just like sitting there like, Vision. I just love that bit so much. I think it's the best of the intro of the first episode. The intro, it was already the best. It can't get any better. It does get better. It's still fun to watch, but I think this is the funniest joke they made. Okay, and then we get to Wanda and Vision arguing over the stove, which is really dangerous. I mean, if one of them accidentally turn on the stove, I'm not really sure if stoves work the same in the 50s, so. But I think they would burn themselves. Or was it when you still had to use, like, a match? Anyway, I still think it's dangerous. They're arguing, well, not really arguing, about a date. And they have no idea what's so special about the date, except for that there is a little heart on the date. And it causes a lot of confusion in the future, but can we just take a moment to watch this screenshot and appreciate the cone bra that Wanda is wearing? And I wanted to say that Vision is wearing it, now I'm thinking of Vision with a cone bra. Can we just appreciate that? I mean, I'm sure that was in at the time. Can you just imagine us all women walking around with cone bras today? I mean, if that's your aesthetic, go for it, if you can find one, but I appreciate it, but I also think it looks really funny. So after that scene, Vision goes to work, and he still looks like Vision, but they have to blend in, so he makes himself look like Paul Bettany again. And I'm so glad for the man that he can actually play most of this series just with a normal human face. And I'm sure he's happy about that as well. Like, I think that all the red makeup and prosthetic things, it mustn't be comfortable to wear. I don't think it is. I didn't really like wearing, like, face makeup all day. Not just normal makeup. I mean, I can't feel this, but if I had to wear prosthetics all day, that would be torture. Also, speaking of makeup, I was doing my makeup like I used to when I could still fit into my Scarlet Witch costume. And for my lips, I actually used like a little makeup, like a lip palette. And I'm just like, this fits so well with this show. I can totally see anyone using something like this. Okay, continuing on to Vision saying goodbye before going to work. Something that I noticed when he went to work is everybody still calls him Vision. Like, no one thinks it's weird that his name is Vision. And that's one of the things that's, like, this show kind of does, is there's a lot of things that are weird, that are odd. Like the date, both of them can't remember what it is, which is kind of like, okay, it could be used in like a comedy show that both of them just don't remember what the date is. But the more you go on into the show, the more like weird things start to happen. And that already in the first episode, like now he's going to work. where he is a Vision, and everybody calls him Vision. And before we actually go to Vision's work, the neighbors come around, and this is Diana, and Diana is a sweetheart, and I want my own Diana. She is such an amazing, sweet lady. For now. I mean, this is the first episode. We have no idea where this is going to go. But she's so sweet, and she helps Wanda so well later on in the episode. And I want my own Diana. Hi, Diana's out there. Do you want to be my friend? So Diana comes and she gives a housewarming gift, and they talk. And then one of the first things you start to notice that are weird is that Wanda, yes, she's married. I mean, you saw it in the intro. But she doesn't have a wedding ring. And that's one of the first, kind of weird things where you first start to notice them. Because why wouldn't they have wedding rings? She was wearing a wedding dress in the intro. And they talk about it, and they're just nice. Really. It's just a normal conversation. It's like they're already best friends, even though they just met, which is also really sitcom-y. I mean, it is a sitcom, so far it is a sitcom. We don't know how long it's going to stay a sitcom. And then we go to Vision's work, which is Computational Services Inc., which is an amazing name. And it doesn't say anything about the company. And that's exactly what Vision's problem is. Because first, we get to see him, which is also an amazing scene, working super fast. Even though he sits there but his hands are sped up, and it's amazing. He has finished his work in record time. I mean, we don't know how long he has been there, but he has worked super fast, and he went through his entire pile, which is higher than his in pile from his coworker, who, by the way, looks at him as a puppy. Just look at that coworker and how cute he is, and how he looks at Vision like a puppy. Just I know it's just a screenshot, but I just think it's so funny. He's a puppy. From now on, I'm sorry, dude, you're a puppy. But basically, in this scene, Vision wonders, what are we actually doing here? And he gets a lot of blah blah at his head, but basically, they're doing absolutely nothing. They're doing a job, they fill in files, but they don't sell a product. It kind of sounded to me like some kind of weird pyramid scheme. I'm sure it's not that, but I'm just not well versed in all this business lingo. So they were talking about what is it that we do here, and everybody gives him answers, but he still doesn't know, and we still don't know, to be honest. And then he wonders, what is the heart on our calendar? What does it mean? What is this date? And you can already see, but I didn't notice, but you can already see that the door behind him has heart written on it with just an A. Yeah, an A. So basically the thing is that he doesn't have a special thing with Wanda, but the director, Mr. Hart, the CEO director thing, is coming over for dinner. And the last person who the CEO came over to dinner to got fired. So they have to make a great dinner, and that's going to be the rest of the episode. Also, when I looked at this screenshot that I made, I just think this is the most British pose Paul Bettany could have made. And he says later, oh yeah, my wife is from Europe because she's from Segovia. But this is so British. And for the longest time, I couldn't think why I thought it. Everyone can just sit like this. And why did I think it was so British? And that's actually because of a show that my dad likes to watch, called, I forgot the name, Death in Paradise. And one of the leads there, played by Chris Marshall, he just reminds me of him so much. Also, Paul Bettany is British, so he already talks with a British accent, and still his wife comes from Europe, yeah. Oh yeah, this is a moment where he realizes what the heart meant, and it's so cute. Oh, heart. It's so cute. Just the heart. He has to do this with his hands to be like, oh, heart. But then he calls Wanda, and they're both like, do you know what's going on? Yes, I know what's going on, don't worry. But before that, Wanda was with Diana, and they were looking through like magazines, all kind of tips what to do for universities. Not universities, anniversaries. What to do for anniversaries, because Wanda thinks that it was their anniversary, even though they don't even remember when they got married. So they look through the magazines to find out what to do for the night, and it's just girls supporting girls, which is nice to see, especially in a sitcom. Can I just say how much I love this sitcom more than other sitcoms? Like, my dad is obsessed with Married with Children. I absolutely loathe it. I hate it so much. I just don't see what's funny about a family in which you think, how did this wife and husband ever get married? They despise each other. How did I get married? How did I get children? Which is kind of like, I mean, the show shouldn't have been called Married with Children. The show should have been called How Did These Two Marry and Have Children? Okay, so is it the next day and am I wearing a completely different Christmas sweater? Absolutely not. How could you ever think I would be that stupid to do something like that? Okay, yes, I am. This joke is getting old. So, yeah, my mom got home yesterday and I just didn't want to film after that anymore. And then later on, I also didn't want to film anymore. So, it's the next day and we're going to continue with this. I don't even know what it is. It's a reaction video, but also I'm just reacting to pictures and just telling you the story. So maybe it's a small analysis. Let's continue. So I was at the moment that they're both calling each other. I don't know why I'm doing it like this. I could also do it with my phone case, but it's empty. They were calling each other and they were both talking around each other like, oh yeah, don't worry, it's totally fine. I know exactly what's going to happen. Spoiler alert, Wanda doesn't know what's going to happen. I don't know why I gave a spoiler alert, because I already gave one at the beginning of this video. So then we suddenly get an ad. We literally just get an advertisement, a very sexist. My talking was a lot better yesterday. A very sexist advertisement in which the man basically just says like, oh, it's so great for women to have this. It makes it so much easier so they won't burn your toast. Yes, it's actually like that. And I get it. It's funny. It's of that time. Commercials. I meant the word commercial. Commercials were a lot more like that back then. I've seen examples of other commercials who said the same kind of things. And you're just like, okay, random commercial, fun. It's fun that I thought about it. And then suddenly it gets creepy. Because they talk about it, blah, blah, blah. They show some food. And after they've shown the food, suddenly that little toaster thing they're talking about, it no longer blinks with a white light. Because everything is black and white. But with a red light. That's the first pop of color. It's like the girl in Schindler's List with the red coat at the end of it. There's suddenly color in there. Red color. Like Wanda magic red color. That's suddenly there. And I had to rewatch that part. Like, what? Did I see that correctly? Was it like that the first time? No, it was white first. But then after they show the pictures of all the food, suddenly it's red. And so I was kind of freaking out at that point because that's such a fun thing. Like, they're showing you there is something wrong. And you know there's something wrong because Wanda and Vision don't remember anything. And even though that's not that apparent yet, it will become later in the episode, and you just know that there are things that are so wrong and unexplained. And something like this just is such a fun thing. Like, did Wanda do all this? Did her magic cause all this? Or is it an outside force? This is setting up so much, and I hope that every episode will do this. I haven't seen episode 2 yet. By the way, if you want me to make another one of these videos for episode 2, let me know. I'm enjoying it, even though I'm talking quite a lot. I hope you don't mind. Like, I already saw that last part was like 20 minutes long, so let's see how much that is when I cut it down. So then the commercial stops and Vision arrives at home with his boss and the boss's wife, and Wanda is all fancy because she thought it was going to be an anniversary and she wanted to be sexy. And then it's the boss, and she actually walks up to the man. Vision runs away. She walks up to the man, holds her hands in front of his eyes, and guess who? And it's so funny because I know it's supposed to be dark, Wanda. But are you blind? Like, this man looks nothing like Vision. He's like a completely different posture. And she's like, guess who? So I must say that was a very, 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 very bad second-hand embarrassment moment for me. I get that very, very quickly from movies and series, and this was definitely one of those moments, but it's still kind of funny. And yeah, after that, they're like, oh my god, I didn't mean that. And then she's like, oh my god, cleavage. Which, to be honest, in that dress, she barely has any cleavage. Like, it's really not that bad of a dress. If you think about what some women in this situation would wear nowadays, it honestly isn't that bad. But I'm sure that back in the 50s, this was like scandalous. I mainly just wanted to show this screenshot because I think it's just hilarious. Sorry. So they basically explain it away as saying it's a Sokovian European greeting, and the boss rolls with it because, well, it's a sitcom. Everyone is stupid. Like, that's like one of the main rules of sitcoms, I think. Everyone is just dumb. And if there's one very smart person, then nobody will listen to that person. That's just how it is. After that, Vision goes on to entertain the husband and wife, and Wanda is going to the kitchen and she freaks. Also, before we go to Wanda, can we just talk about Vision's tie? Like, I'm feeling it's going to be important because I've never seen a tie like that. Is it supposed to be like a Vision logo or something? I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I feel like it's important because it's just so out there, so different from the rest of the style. Like, just this random square with dots, and it kind of looks like a robot. Like, I think it looks like a cute little robot like this, and then 2 ears like that, you know? I don't know what it means, but I just thought it looked very funny, and I only noticed it there. He was wearing it the whole time, but I only noticed it in that screenshot. So Wanda freaks out, and here it is, her saving grace, Diana. I really want my own Diana. Like, she's such a sweetheart, like I already said. And she basically brings over a ton of groceries and recipe cards because Wanda needs to impress them right now. And then Wanda wants to try and get Diane out of the kitchen. And just this screenshot, this face of Wanda. the pure, like, get out of my house. Which honestly, I kind of understand because she wants to use her magic to do all things. But on the other hand, like, Diana could have helped. It probably would have been better than the stress cooking you were going to do. Because Wanda, stress baking is okay, but stress cooking, oh no. It's just not gonna work. So Vision continues to distract the boss and the wife of the boss. And at some point, the wife wants to open the thing towards the kitchen to see if everything goes okay. And Vision starts singing. It's such a stupid distraction, but he starts singing. And she turns around and you see Wanda behind him like, what the fuck is going on? And every pot and pan just floating around. And he grabs a ukulele. I was so happy when he grabbed the ukulele. I just thought it was so funny. And my ukulele is somewhere over there. So I'm not grabbing it right now. But I just thought it was so funny to see like this. I mean, it's not funny to have a grown man with ukulele. But just like this random man in the 60s pulls the ukulele out of nowhere. And while Wanda is completely freaking out and losing all control over magic, he's singing Old MacDonald on a ukulele with his boss and the wife of the boss. And the wife is like, oh yeah, fun. And the boss is like, just that. And so at some point, Vision decides to check in on Wanda. And she thinks someone else came in and she just sends, she just yeets the lobster out of the kitchen, so they also won't eat lobster. And this goes on for quite a while. I think it may have taken a little bit too long, but I don't think they wanted to put too much information into the first episode, if that makes sense. Like, I think they wanted to make the crazy stuff more of the future and really make it a sitcom in this first episode, so this went on for a little long. Just a constant like, oh, Diane comes back and has a pineapple for some reason. And the boss and wife of the boss are like, who's that? And they'll like both answer something different. Eventually, suddenly there's dinner, and the dinner is breakfast. Because that's very European. And I didn't really understand it, why she didn't just do that before, but I guess they wanted to impress the boss, so probably breakfast for dinner wasn't what they were going for. But there was food now. And during dinner, the boss and the wife question Wanda and Vision, and suddenly they realize, like, what is our story? You've seen this part in like the trailer if you watch the trailer. It's like our story, and they just can't think of it. And that's like the big red flag, like, what happened? How did they get there? What happened to their memories? And I think like a very, very, very big part of this has to be Wanda. Because during this scene, they're like mainly focusing on Wanda. Like all the shots are focused on Wanda. If you watch the shots, they don't give any close-ups. Yeah, they give close-ups from the husband and wife, but not from Vision. It's always Vision's back to the camera until the very end. But it's always like this angle where you see the husband and wife like this, and then Wanda in the back. And so the camera kind of centers around Wanda. And even if it's making a close-up, you can see that the background where Wanda is sitting is very blurred, or it gets more blurred. And when it's a close-up of the husband or wife, the background isn't as blurred as it is around Wanda. So there's definitely something going on with reality and Wanda's mind. And then the boss, the man, starts choking on his food. And somehow I'm thinking, like, did Wanda do this? Like, seriously, the first time I watched it, I didn't think he would choke in his food. I thought it was Wanda choking him with her powers, until she told Vision, like, go help him. And he goes in with his hand into the man's neck and pulls out the food. I thought Wanda was choking him. And even when the food was out there, I still believe Wanda had something to do with it. Because I don't really think, and this is because of some knowledge I have from the comics, I don't think Wanda is completely stable. at the moment. And I think that's a big part is why all of this is going on. Like that her powers may not be stable. She's altering reality a lot. I mean, they're in a 50s sitcom. Reality is so altered. I feel like there's something going on there, and maybe she did choke the man. I don't know. Also, when she said, like, Vision, go help him, it sounded so much like a command. Like, Vision wasn't even thinking of doing it himself, but when she said it, he just stood up and did it. Like, she was manipulating him in some way with her powers. And maybe I'm reading way too much into this, but I feel like this is a series where you really have to read into things because they're going to come back. And after that man chokes, I think that's the weirdest thing. After the man chokes and Vision saves him, they go. They haven't talked about anything. They have barely eaten anything. And they just leave. And not even mad. They're like, Vision, you get that promotion. That's also so strange. Like, I know it's a sitcom and that wasn't like the most important part of the sitcom. So there's not much time going into that part, but why did they just leave? It was suddenly like, oh, we have to go. There was a very nice dinner, we have to go. It was so odd. Like, I get you're a little shaken if you just, like, almost choked to death, but there was still dinner on that table. Like, they barely sat down for 5 minutes. And he just said, like, hey, we need to go. And gave Vision a promotion for a job where he still doesn't know what he's actually doing there. So then they leave, and when they open the door, you can see the lobster that Wanda has yeeted out of the window earlier and was completely gone and disappeared into thin air. Is now on the door like a door knock, and the wife actually uses it to knock on the door. What a fun door knock, yeah, very European. So they leave, and Wanda and Vision are alone, very cute, and they talk about why they can't remember things. Which is great that they address that, actually, because there's also shows where they just, like, have moments like that and then just never talk about it again. So it's great that they actually address that, and they talk about it, very sweet, next to each other. And they're like, well, we don't even have wedding rings. And then Vision is like, well, can you make them for us? And she makes them wedding rings, which is also a really cute moment. And Vision just behind her with a remote control just puts on the television, and they're just like cute. And they have a nice end screen with like starring Wanda and Vision. And then suddenly the screen finally grows bigger, grows out of that square. And you see color. And there's someone sitting behind all sorts of electronics, like a soundboard and computer screens, all kind of audio things. I'm just looking at the picture, kind of seeing what I'm kind of recognizing. I think there's light. Yeah, that's a light board, not a soundboard, I think. And he's making notes, and I got really excited because the entire episode I was making notes so I could have this video for you guys. And he was making notes, and we don't know who is making notes. I'm saying he, could be a she, but I think the hands are kind of more masculine. That sounded like Michelin. Masculine. I'm sorry if I say any words incorrectly. I'm not a native English speaker. And it's just weird, like, who is making all of that? Who is writing down what's happening? Who is watching the show within the same universe as the show? We don't know yet. Is this the person responsible for the red flickering lights, not night? We don't know. We have no idea. This is where it ends. And I guess this is kind of an after credit scene, because I've actually waited through the entire credits, which take a very long time because it's Disney Plus, so like every country has to be credited. Well, if you would be going to like the movies, you just get the credits for your country and not like every single language there were lots of credits. It's like at least 7 minutes of credits. So it's very short. It's a very short episode. I think I've been talking about it for longer than that the show actually is. But it was great. It was a fun first episode. I'm very curious to see how fast it's going to be. Like, how much will be resolved within the first season. And I know that I kind of have to match it with the movies, because that's what Marvel does. They match everything with the movies. I should also catch up on Marvel movies, which I can do because I have Disney Plus. Otherwise I couldn't have seen this. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't that special. Like, there were some points definitely where I'm like, "Ooh, this is interesting." But it was mainly a sitcom, this episode. And I'm curious to see how fast that is going to change. Because not the entire show is a sitcom, I believe. Like, from what the trailer shown, there will be other people, there will be color. Suddenly there'll be like more in the 70s. And they have kids. I'm excited for the kids. Even though they die in the comics. But this is my reaction to the first episode. Please let me know if you want to see another reaction video for another episode. And then I'm going to keep it there because I've been talking for way too long, even though these are 2 different videos. Just paste it together. Yeah, so if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye!